Hi, I'm Christina.
And I'm Randy. Are you ready for an adventure?
Come see our journey.
In this video, we're going to take a tour of a roundhouse, the turntable, and talk about some movies. So we're headed to the roundhouse.
Our turntable was actually remodeled or rebuilt for 1922. Prior, because this is actually a locomotive that was coming in back in those days. Because prior to that, was made for like the size of number 3 versus number 8. They weren't very large. What's going to happen? They're coming in right now and they're going to hold up so the engine crew can come on the turntable.
Okay.
So we're going to probably hang out right about here somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, this is where they'll be coming right here, right in front of you. Student fireman on board today, Barbara.
Yeah, the lady.
That's why.
Yeah.
Steve's gone over, he's under control. The air is shut off, so he's got clean air on first. Mike, he's a fireman. He also works for Sierra.
Okay, this one here with them.
Mike,
Okay.
right, yeah, now so that's how close she is, brother. Just right there. Pull that key. But you got to pull the key in, not out.
Right.
They step, I think, right on the money, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they got to. It was only big enough.
Oh, they're moving back.
Let's go ahead.
Now you're going to rotate to the left towards you. Now it's easier when they're lined up with that whisker over there to put the key in, because it's coming towards you, not away from you.
Oh, okay, okay.
But still you're in front of the hot boiler.
Right.
A railway roundhouse is a building with a circular or semicircular shape used by railways for servicing and storing locomotives. Traditionally, though not always the case today, these buildings are surrounded or were adjacent to a turntable.
Okay.
So you got to be a fireman first, qualified fireman first, to a seated engineer,
Okay.
and then you get qualified. It's a lot of hours.
In the United States and Canada, there's only about 12 roundhouses left, and in Jamestown, this is one of them.
Smoke today. We're gonna have fun inside with all that smoke in there.
Most railroad turntables have completely disappeared. However, several have found a second life with the steam locomotives still in service or on railroad museums and tourist attractions.
Time for Thomas the Tank to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Take his nap.
So a lot of times they have to get everything closed up before we can even get in front of it.
Okay.
Because they don't like anybody around that can lurch, can do anything
Uh-huh.
to the side. That way we can start moving this way.
Okay.
And we get to tour the roundhouse. We're going in.
We're in the Roundhouse. This is great. We get a personal tour. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there's a ram that goes, it'll drop it 20 feet and move it over to this track and raise it back up. So it's actually the first chance of hydraulics. It was actually hydraulics run by water.
Oh, wow.
But water hydraulics really didn't work so well. It bounced a lot. We didn't have the compression ratio.
That we were like,
This car is rare.
Yeah, that's
okay.
One thing about this area,
got a gas engine.
it's got a gas engine. And one thing about this area, there was many, it's not the Sierra Railway was probably one of the first in this area. They cut into the hills from Oakdale to here. But that opened the envelope for many others. Because Sierra always, they had here, they had the Angels Camp line, and they went all the way to Sonora. That was the extent of the Sierra line. But then all of a sudden you had a lot of little things happen around it. Once you got past Sonora, you started having encampments up the mountains, different railroads up into that area. You had, the Feather River, and had the Sugar Pine, and you had a bunch of them up there. And so they were just, they had their own little name, but they used to come down here for service. There was another workshop up north. So they built a railroad south of here, and this is where this car came from. This is not one of Sierra's. It was actually donated to us.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, it's kind of rare to find one. There's probably less than 4 or 5 in the world in operating condition. So it's actually, some people call them rail buses. And it'll do about 55 in a nice, in a good straight stretch. You gotta have a straight stretch, I mean really straight. Any turns, not so much.
No.
So it's built 1919. There's a company in San Francisco called White. There's a White Motor Works. It's got a gas motor. And so the only way to start this is by hand cranking it.
Oh, the hand crank. Okay, I see it.
And so most of the time operating speed around here is about 5 to 10. Sometimes we get authority to go maybe 15 because you see our track, how windy it can be.
Right.
So you get any speed. The most speed I ever came was when I passed Bell Moody going up the hill. I got the speeder up to 4th gear one time, doing about 22. And it's crazy. And you feel everything. So we're only limited to 10. Years ago, we had a little bit different speed limit than we have today. But it's from 1919, and it's pretty rare to even find one of these.
This is really cool.
Yeah, I love operating. It brings up a lot high. You see, I've got steering wheel too, huh?
Yeah.
There's no need to steer it.
Right. It's on the track.
Watch this.
I wasn't sure which way I was going.
So that was one of the reasons why you had the two on the steering wheel. One's the igniter, one basically for the coil. You break down the voltage, and the other one is for throttle.
Okay.
So that way you can hand crank it by yourself and reach in the door and make the changes instead of sitting in there. Unless you have somebody in there, but you always have your own feel for it. You did have passenger service coming up.
Yeah.
They were different cars. In those days, they're a little bit bigger. They were wooden cars also. They were probably a little bit longer. 5 and 6 was used for passenger service to Angels Camp. And back, that was it. That's all it was used for. But they had, like we have the 2 and 3 car up near Tridam, which are probably twice the length. Probably put these two together in about that length. And they were used for passenger service from the Oakdale, Stockton area into this area. And you would stay here at the Neville's Hotel on the property.
So these cars here have been used in the movies and are mainly kept for the movies, and they've been used in Petticoat Junction and Little House on the Prairie, to name a couple.
And the blade off the bottom. And this is probably the most dangerous time to be around that locomotive, because when you shut down and just going to sit here and just don't make a steam. So it could probably take from about maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning the whistle will stop.
They'll start knocking about that time, right?
You'll start knocking.
Yeah.
Y'all start shrinking down.
So then we were given a quick, short lesson on how to take care of steam engine boilers and repair the boilers, as that is one of the functions of the roundhouse.
Now, if you look on the sides over here, see these little spots? Right there? They're stables. And these little dots, yeah, on the sides. See, it's kind of adjustable. And as you just catch.
Oh, I see.
They screw them in, and then they paint them down, and then cut the ends off. And that's what you can see the big screw head on there. Wow. And then you can see that they're actually half round and they pivot.
See, now, why would they need to adjust that?
They don't. Once they're in, they don't need to anymore.
Okay.
They just cap it.
Okay.
Okay. This is the top part. Okay. So, but they usually put some type of a ceiling on this. It doesn't. So the Model T frame is not even on there anymore. They put the body and stuff and part of the frame on a speeder body, which is basically handmade all the way down. And in those days, they could actually, before welding came along, they can torch it and they can bend channel around and make it nice and pretty. And it's chain driven.
It's like a regular car.
It's like a regular car. It's got a big chain in there. See a big chain drive under there. So this is capable about 23. So these are all the kind of TV shows and movies through time. So people have actually seen some of these.
There's your apple dumpling game. That's you.
I mean, it's just Little House on the Prairie, Bonanza. We went to...
Here are some pictures from Little House on the Prairie when it was filmed there, and Bonanza back in the 60s. Do I get points if I've seen them all? But one of the latest ones is Back to the Future, and of course we have to have some pictures from it. Back to the Future 3, most of it was filmed right around the Jamestown area.
This right here, Chattanooga Choo-choo, right?
Yeah.
That was
Lassie.
train number 28. Right?
Okay.
But it was based on.
Rawhide.
So it's kind of weird. You know, they would do this. That was they're going.
High noon. And the number 3 engine at Jamestown played a big part in the movie High Noon.
And what's funny is what did you say that movie was?
What?
Is that the High Noon?
High Noon, so that's a big one.
High Noon's a big one. The Virginian. That's a good one.
You ever see High Noon?
Yes.
Yeah. And then My Little Chickadee.
Yeah, we had a car here for that.
Yeah.
That's number 2 car.
Yeah.
That's the back. That's from that. And we started staying home more, and that's when sitcoms started. Hour-long shows. On top of that, we're at the height of the baby boom, where a lot of families were extremely large. So it costs you a lot of money just to go out. And if you ever get all 8 kids in a little 2-seat car.
In the TV show, the Petticoat Junction, the Cannonball was the name of the engine, and it played a big part, along with the water tower.
You're not going anywhere. You gotta pump harder.
And then we've got a final shot of the Roundhouse, which was the star of this video. And so we're all alone. We've stayed so long at the Railtown with our tour and everything that we're all alone. If you enjoyed our vlog, please subscribe
And ring that notification bell.
and give us a like. It lets us know you care.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.